this was something I faced when I first became Muslim. First of all, in the Shahada, I kind of messed up my Shahada a bit because I said it, I wrote the words down and I said it in front of my mum and dad because I thought I had to have two witnesses, and I didn't know it has to be two Muslim men who are reliable, trustworthy in the courtroom and all that other stuff. I just thought any two people. So I went in front of my mum and dad and I read the Shahada. My mum said, "What's that?" I said, "It's Arabic, Mum. I found it online." I didn't tell her I accepted Islam. And it's another point I'm going to home to you. Why do you force a new Muslim to tell his parents on the first day? Did the Sahaba used to tell their parents on the first day? You want to know how many of the Sahaba in Mecca concealed their Islam? Wallah, you could kill a person. Wallah, no word of a lie. Alhamdulillah, my family was good, like a good, like sort of welcoming family. They didn't really have a big problem. But some people's family, you tell him, you have to go home and tell your parents. And maybe they'll beat him, maybe they kick him out of the house, maybe he live on the street, maybe he turn away from his religion. For the sisters, it's even worse. So don't be giving out fatwa like it's free. You wouldn't give out fatwa to another Muslim. Wallahi, you wouldn't. That Muslim comes in, he says, "Akhi, can you tell me how to make wudu?" Say, "Allahu alam, ask the Imam." The new Muslim comes in, "Of course, Akhi, I show you, no problem." You can't, you have to take the person to a person of knowledge, because otherwise this person is going to make life decisions really going to hurt you. So the issue, I didn't tell my parents in the beginning. I told them after a few weeks. My mom kind of guessed, and I told them after a few weeks. But here I made a big mistake at this point. My big mistake was I didn't really know enough about Islam to explain it to them, but I tried to explain it anyway. So I didn't really have, I was a new Muslim, right? I was 14 years old. I didn't have a lot of knowledge to explain Islam to them. I didn't really know how to explain Islam to them. But I tried anyway. So I said a lot of wrong things, astaghfirullah, about Islam that was just mixed up in my head. I didn't really understand it. Like they were grilling me a bit, you know, not too much, but they were like, "Well, why is it like this? Well, why do you do this? Why do you Muslims do this? So why is it like this? Why do you do that?" And I thought I had to have an answer for everything. So I was trying to give them answers like that. And I made a lot of mistakes, and I caused a lot of harm to my parents by the fact that I didn't give them a good image of Islam. To all the new Muslims, I would say, when you first tell your parents or your family about Islam, this is your golden opportunity to tell them really well and give them a really good impression of Islam and invite them to accept it. The second mistake I made, really big mistake with my parents, is that I didn't give them da'wah from the first day. We came to an agreement. We made a truce. We signed a treaty, except without the signatures. We made a peace agreement between us. I don't preach to them. They don't preach to me. Peace. My mom said, "Look, we're not going to tell you to change your religion. If that's what you want to be, that's what you want to be. My advice is don't tell everyone about it. Maybe you want to change later, but okay, it's your religion, it's your choice." My mom said, "You're very, strong-willed person. If you want to do something, you just go ahead and do it anyway. So fine, it's your religion. But don't try to convert us. We won't try to convert you." You should never ever accept that statement. But I thought it was amazing at that time. I was little, 14. I thought it was great. I was like, "Yep, that is what I want. I will not try to convert you. You will not try to convert me. We're going to live at peace. I'm just going to pray in my room. I'm not going to show Islam to you, and you're not going to show Christianity to me." But there's no conversation then. There's no da'wah. And now trying to give da'wah is very hard. Because that agreement, every time you try and give da'wah, it's like, come on, man, look, one thing, we supported you when you were younger. We let you pray, we let you eat your halal meat, we did all that on one condition, that you were not gonna give us a hard time about becoming Muslim. So when you speak to us about Islam now, it becomes, it's a point of friction. I think for a few years we went through this like put your head in the sand like type of mode, where anytime Islam would get mentioned on the TV, everyone would rush for the remote, switch the remote off. But now my mom is very proud of me being a Muslim. She's not Muslim. أسأل الله عز وجل أن يهديها ويهدي أسرتي جميعا. We ask Allah to guide them. But she's very positive about Islam, and she will tell people, "My son is a Muslim. Yeah, he converted. He gives talks in the masjid," and she's very happy about that. But in those times, it was kind of just like Let's just all pretend that everything is completely normal. But they were very accommodating. Everything I asked them to do, they did. I said, I don't want Christmas anymore. They were like, fine, no Christmas. No birthdays, no birthdays, okay. I was like, I want to eat halal meat, no problem, bring your meat. Already my dad is a vegetarian, so it was like, fine, another dietary requirement in the house, no problem. You can have your meat. I don't want to sit at the table with alcohol. My parents don't really drink, to be honest. Very, very little, extremely little. So they were like, fine, no alcohol on the table. Like, everything I asked them to do, wallahi, everything I asked them to do, they did. And they made it easy for me. They didn't make it hard for me. But not everyone has that. So you have to have that fiqh when dealing with a new Muslim to understand that not everyone comes from that same background. But one of the things I will say is, that is very easy for me, but it's very hard for da'wah. Da'wah actually is easier when you have confrontation, to be quite honest. Most of the time. Da'wah is easier when someone says, I don't believe what you're saying, I don't agree with it, and I'm like, and you get, yes, وَجَادِلْهُمْ بِالَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ. Argue with them in the way that is best. There's a bit of back and forward. That's generally easier to give da'wah. But it's harder on the person. They made it very easy for me, but that situation was very hard to give da'wah. Because the whole situation is based around, we respect you, you respect us, nobody talk about it, everyone's happy, we'll do whatever you say, just keep the peace. And that's very hard. Giving da'wah is very hard. But it was good for me in terms of personally, it was easy for me.